Hi everyone, and welcome to Jane Talks Murder. And throughout April, I will be looking at the worst rated and most panned episodes of Poirot, Murder, She Wrote, Diagnosis Murder, and Jonathan Creek. I will be starting with Poirot, The Adventure of Johnnie Waverly, or as I like to call it, That Time Poirot Got Bored. We begin the episode with a scooty little car and this teeny boy in front of this massive house, where his parents are discussing threats of kidnapping they've received through the post. Snuggles for you, tiny boy. Poirot checks in on Miss Lemon, who is implementing a new filing system. It sounds very complicated, but no time for that. Papa Waverly is here, and Hastings comes to tell Miss Lemon he's been accepted into some racing thing. Marcus shows Poirot the note, which threatens to kidnap Johnnie and will cost £50,000 to get him back. So Poirot says to take it seriously, and Marcus says he doesn't know who would do such a thing, and the police aren't interested. Poirot says he'll pack a bag, and they stop by to see Jap, who, as Marcus said, isn't interested, and the pair get into an argument, but on the train, Poirot defends Jap and tells Marcus he'll sort it out. They arrive at the house, which looks weird. Is it a matte painting? Anyway, Poirot is introduced to Ada, who has been chatting to Hastings, who doesn't think the threat is anything serious, but Poirot is puzzled as to why the would-be kidnappers would warn the Waverleys in advance. At dinner, Ada is worried before Johnnie comes in to say goodnight, and Poirot reassures her that tomorrow he will be protected.
No one will kidnap Johnnie Waverly.
Poirot is woken in the night by the staff running around the house, and Marcus explains that Ada has been taken ill. And the following day, Poirot and Hastings are not impressed with the breakfast, Hastings mentioning the meagre portion at dinner last night, and he wonders if the family is short of money. Marcus comes storming in the room, showing a note that was pinned to his pillow.
There's a traitor somewhere.
Uh-oh, better get Claudia Winkleman on the phone. And he plans to sack every member of his staff except for Treadwell and Miss Collins, but Poirot says that's a shit idea, because there will be less people protecting Johnnie. Marcus shouts at him, rude. And as the deadline approaches, Jap and an army of police officers rock up, so Poirot wishes him luck with Marcus, who is currently getting an earful from Jessie, who doesn't take kindly to being fired. Poirot and Hastings talk to a builder who confirms Marcus can't afford to pay him, but says Ada has plenty of money she won't part with, and Jap disperses his men across the house.
One man by the main door, of course. I was born by the front door.
Did you hear that?
I was born by the front door.
It totally sounds like he said, I was born by the front door.
I was born by the front door.
Both with empty stomachs, Poirot and Hastings stop for a proper breakfast because it's not like they're on a time crunch or anything, and sing on the drive back.
Two men went to mow a meadow.
But the car doesn't appreciate that nonsense and breaks down. Hastings looks at the car and declares it's been tampered with. Ooh, a kitty meow meow. Anyway, as 12 approaches, Marcus brings Johnnie downstairs, and after giving Hastings his angry eyes over the broken car, Poirot opts to walk back. As time ticks down, Poirot isn't having fun. Midday strikes, the police catch someone sneaking through the bushes, and everyone leaves the kid unattended. What is the matter with you all? The guy claims he was given a letter to deliver, which basically says, ha ha, I've got your son, pay £70,000. And it's not wrong. He's seen being driven away as the town clock actually strikes midday, and they all run back into the house like idiots to find the clock has been set forward. Poirot bathes his feet and tells the Waverleys that Johnnie will be fine, and instead goes to talk to the man they apprehended, who says a weird man paid him to deliver the note who looked like a young version of Treadwell, but he has no children. Jap has Joe hauled away and says he's going back to London, so Poirot interviews Treadwell alone, who mentions Ada had implemented changes in the house, and Hastings asks Mrs. Collins about Jessie. She says she's trustworthy and then leaves, and Poirot ponders how the kidnappers got Johnnie out of the room when there were police everywhere, but Ada mentions a secret passageway which wasn't hugely common knowledge, so Poirot and Hastings go exploring. Poirot still wonders why the kidnappers warned the family and gets a little cranky.
I'm bored with this tunnel.
So good news! They climb out into the garden where they find tire tracks, and Poirot declares this is all bullshit. He fills Hastings in on the details of the case, saying Mrs. Waverly was intentionally poisoned to keep her out of the way because this was an inside job, but it couldn't be Ada or Mrs. Collins because they were together.
Hastings,
I've had enough of this case.
Poirot tells Marcus he's going back to London and hands him a piece of paper with Johnny's location on it.
It's a blank sheet.
Because I am waiting for you to write it down for me. You will take Captain Hastings and me to the boy now.
He says if he doesn't, he'll tell Ada the truth, so he takes them to a small house with Johnnie and Jessie inside. Jessie being Treadwell's niece, who was the mystery man. Poirot tells Marcus to get his shit together and work out what he's going to tell Ada before riding with Hastings to the station, and explains to him all the signs pointed to Marcus, with Treadwell and Jessie as accomplices. Okay, so there is nothing wrong with this episode. It is perfectly fine. So for it to be the lowest rated episode, it just goes to show how strong this series is and how strong Christie's writing is. There are 3 reasons why I think this episode is rated the lowest. First, it's only the 3rd episode of the show, which was still finding its footing. Secondly, Marcus Waverly is an annoying douche. And third, there was no murder. Without a grisly murder driving it, the plot was a little slower paced, but Poirot being sassy throughout, and the reveal that it was Marcus all along, was worth the price of admission. The motive was obviously money. Ada had it and Marcus wanted it, but it's a little muddled. Something to do with the restoration of the building, but whatever. It's not that important. The clues were all there pointing to Marcus, but it still surprised me the first time I watched it. I do prefer a murder, but sometimes it's refreshing to have a different crime once in a while. And the mystery of why the Waverleys were warned kind of outweighed the crime itself. I mean, yes, Marcus was an ass muffin, but he did think of everything, poisoning his wife, firing the staff, tampering with the car, and setting the clock forward, with Joe as a distraction, so the engineering of the crime was clever, even if his motive was a little woolly. But as I said, there's nothing wrong with this episode. It's a perfectly fine little mystery with a lot of Poirot personality. So there you have it. That was The Adventure of Johnnie Waverly. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, or come say hi on social media. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button, it really does mean a lot, or consider subscribing if you want to keep investigating with me. Alternatively, feel free to check out my other YouTube channels. Thank you so much for watching, I'll speak to you soon, and keep an eye out for clues.